Alrighty, happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited you guys are here. I'm going to give a few minutes for some folks to hop on here. I got a great word for you guys today. A great word. Hey, Kimberly, good morning to you. Um, so, guys, I have a wonderful, wonderful word for you today that was put on my heart that it's just powerful. It's so powerful. And I love whenever God speaks to me with something so powerful that I can share with all of you because I know there's somebody that needs to hear it, that needs to know it. And so I'm super excited about this message today, talking about when we feel finished. And, I think back on my life of so many times when I felt finished. Whenever I was in the motel room and the guy that had bought me, found out that my sister worked for the highway patrol and that the person that lured me in didn't tell him that. And I remember him waving the gun and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is it. I am finished. Like there's nothing I can do, right? And that feeling of hopelessness and that feeling of fear and that feeling of uncertainty and all the feelings that come with that feeling of finished. And yet, even though I felt finished, I was unfinished. And God knew I was unfinished. And so what's so exciting about this message is that in life, I know we feel finished, whether it be in a relationship or career or job, maybe drugs, maybe an addiction, something that makes you feel like there's nothing else, like it's just finished, it's just done. And my message that I want to tell you guys today is that when Jesus was on that cross and he went through all that pain, he said, "It is finished." And he is the only one that says when it is finished. So whenever doctors might say to you, it's finished, you're done, there's nothing else we can do, that doesn't mean it's finished, because God is the only one that says when it's finished. It is unfinished. I look back on my life and I think about when I stood in the living room of a very abusive guy that I was with, and he looked at me and he's like, "You're finished. You're never going to be nothing in life." And I remember that feeling of just rejection and that feeling of just sick to my stomach, being like, wow, I'm finished. But God knew I wasn't finished. He knew I was unfinished. And he knew I was going to meet the most amazing man in the world in the right timing, and that man was going to love me unconditionally and treat me like a queen and treat me so good. And that was Liza, the enemy, saying that I was finished. But God was saying, "No, you're unfinished. I have a whole plan for your life." And so what I want to excite you guys about today is knowing that when the enemy comes at you and says to you, "You're finished, you're done," you can come back and say, "I am unfinished," because only God says when I am finished. Whenever circumstances tell you that you're finished and you look at these circumstances and it's just beyond your control, that's when you let go of that control and you say, "You know what? I can have peace knowing that I'm not the one that says when it's finished. God says when it's finished." I love the quote by Perry Noble that said, "If you're not dead, God's not done." See, the enemy wants you to think that. Circumstances want you to think that. I look at people and how people might tell you you're finished. They might say, "Oh, you didn't get that job, you're finished. You didn't succeed in that relationship, you're finished. You didn't, the doctors can't cure you, you're finished." People don't have the sign. They don't have the final say, guys. Only God can say when it's finished. So I want you to find peace in knowing you're unfinished, and that's okay. Because we go through times in our life where we feel like we are finished, and the enemy tells us that we are, but only God says when we are finished. Only God says whenever it is done. And that is something I want you guys to find peace in today, because I know that we go through so many circumstances and so many feelings of uncertainty and confusion, and we try to figure out what's going to happen in the next 6 months. It's not for you to do. It's not for you to figure out the next 6 months. It's for you to have enough grace through God for one day, get through that day, and then go to the next day. And I always talk about this because it's so important, because the enemy wants you to feel like you're finished. The enemy wants you to think that you're done. The enemy wants you to think that all your dreams that you've ever dreamed are over with. I remember businesses that failed, y'all. They failed, and I felt like such a loser again. I felt like, oh my gosh, once again, here I am finished. And God was saying, you're unfinished, because where I am taking you, you have no idea. The doors I'm going to open for you, you have no idea. See, I thought I was finished in my story. God said, you're unfinished in your story. You're going to go tell the world your story. I didn't know that. So I want you guys to find peace in knowing that nobody says you're finished until God says it. He already said it when he come off the cross. He's like, it is finished. Stop carrying all of these things of the world, trying to figure out your life, trying to figure out what's going to happen, and just give it all to God. And you're going to have such a release of peace, because you are no longer going to be trying to figure this all out on your own. A lot of times, people and circumstances and the enemy and all of these things say you're finished, but you're not. You're unfinished. And that's what I want you guys to find joy in today. I think back to when I tried to take my own life. And I tried to more than one time, guys. I did. But I think back to that moment where I had that glass at my wrist and the blood was starting to come up. And I was like, it's finished. Nobody's ever going to love me. I'm never going to have a serious career. I'm never going to be anything in life. I'm finished. All I do is just live to drink and do drugs, and I have no purpose here. It's finished. But God, no lie, had a cockroach fly right across my face. A cockroach. I threw the glass, and I sat, and I was like, and God was saying, you're unfinished. You've no idea what I have in store for you 10, 20, 30 years down the road. You don't say when it's finished. I do. So when the enemy comes at you and he's like, just end it all. Just be done. It's not going to get any better. You're finished. No, you're not. You are unfinished. You have no idea where God can take you. You have no idea the blessings that are waiting for you. The enemy doesn't want you to know that. I always talk about how the enemy does not come against empty vaults. He knows there's something special there. He knows God's going to use you in a big way. And he is fighting every which way, trying to make you think you're finished. And you're not. You are unfinished. So, guys, I just want to stress that to you today, that the feeling of being finished, when the circumstances say you're finished, when people say you're finished, nobody says you're finished till God does. Nobody. God has a plan for you, and that plan is to give you hope and a future. That plan is above and beyond what you ever dreamed of. How many of you guys have a dream in your heart and it's like, oh, that dream's finished. I'm done. That never happened. But did you end it, or did God end it? Because if you were the one that said it's finished, it's not finished. It's unfinished. And God will show you that. Let that dream come alive again inside of you, because nobody can say it's finished until God does. And God is the only one that knows the plans he has for your heart. He's the only one who knows what the future holds. Nobody else does. So may you find peace in knowing this, that it is finished when God says it's finished. And be excited about what is in store for you while you're unfinished. Because there is so much more that can happen in your life. Don't let the enemy lie to you. He's a liar. Fear is a liar. I talk about that all the time. Fear is a liar, guys. The enemy wants you to think it's hopeless, helpless, done. It's not. Only God says that. Maybe, and this is really heavy on my heart, maybe there's an illness or something that the doctors have told you, look, we have done all we can do. It's finished. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to accept it. No, you don't. How many miracle stories have you heard? How many miracle times have you heard miracle stories of people just popping out of that illness, cancer just disappearing, people coming out of comas, people coming, like I could tell you over and over and over again. How many times has the enemy said your finances are done, and then all of a sudden miracles happen? Money comes where you didn't even know it was going to come from because you had faith. So as always, guys, let me give you hope in saying you're unfinished. And that is exactly how God wants you to be, because only He says when you're finished. So just take it one day at a time. Stop trying to figure out your life. You're never going to. You're never going to. If you look back on 2019, how many times did you try to figure out what was going to happen and something absolute opposite of that happened? Because it's not for you to figure out. It's only for you to wait and see how God's going to work it out. Oh, is that not good? That's good, right? All right, guys, that's my message for today. That's your Wednesday word. Please share this. You never know who might feel like they're finished. You never know who might be at the end of the rope and the enemy's lying to them, and they're at that point where that glass is at their wrist. You never know whose life you can save just by spreading love and spreading this word. So blessings to all of you. I love you all so much. I'll go back and reply to your comments, read your comments. And I love you, and I hope you have a super blessed Wednesday. Be proud of being unfinished, because God's got so much waiting for you.